This foldable is for the second part of section 2.8, uniform motions. Uniform motions are problems where an object moves at a constant speed or rate. Use the formula D is equal to RT to solve these problems, where D is the distance, so we're looking at the distance, R is the rate, and T is the time. So just think about it. If I had told you that I was going to drive 60 miles per hour for 2 hours, that means I traveled 210 miles per hour, miles. And so we know these concepts. We've seen them before. Always follow the formula and make sure to note when there is an increase or decrease in time. So what does that mean? That means when I say specifically that there's more time needed for another vehicle, for example. You have to read the problem carefully. You can travel in the same direction or in opposite directions. And even from the same starting point or different points to travel towards each other. Drawing a diagram always helps. And then the weighted average is the sum of each of the product of numbers in the set and its weight divided by the sum of all weights. So we need to take a look at what the average is. If we open it up, we got this problem. It says, two cyclists begin traveling in the same direction on the same bike path. So let's call this the starting point, and I got cyclist A and cyclist B. And cyclist A, one travels at 15 miles per hour. So this one travels at 15 miles per hour. And the other travels at 12 miles per hour. And I'm going to draw a smaller line because I know that he goes slower. So this would be 12. We want to know when they're going to be 10 miles apart. So when is this 10 miles? So what we want to know is the difference of their distance. And we're not sure what time that's going to be, and that's what we need to solve for because it says when. So this problem we're going to do 15 times t minus 12 times t. So don't forget that rate times times gives you distance. So they're saying this distance minus this distance. And we want to know when that's going to be 10 miles. 15 minus 12 is 3t, and that's equal to 10 divided by 3. T is equal to 3.3 repeating. So your answer needs to be at 3.3 hours, they will be 10 miles apart. The next one, we got two trains leaving Chicago. So I'm going to draw my diagram, and I'm going to rotate it and write Chicago. And at Chicago, one is traveling east, and I'm going to call it E. And the other one's going west, and I'm going to call it W. The east is going 30 miles per hour, and one is traveling west at 40 miles per hour. When, so we know we're looking for the time, are they going to be 210 miles apart? So what we're looking for is this together. You're going to add this distance and this distance, and when is it going to be 210? So here, we're going to add them. That distance together. So 30t plus 40t is equal to 210. That's 70t is equal to 210. Divide by 70 to both sides. T is equal to 3. That means in 3 hours, the trains will be 210 miles apart. On the next one, an express train travels at 90 kilometers per hour. So I'm going to call it E for express. And this is 90 miles per hour. And a local train from Smallville to Megatown, a local train takes 2.5 hours longer. So whatever time that was, we're going to have to take that time and add 2.5 to it to get the time of that local train. So I'm going to call it L. And longer to travel the same distance at 50 miles per hour. 50 kilometers per hour. How far apart are Smallville and Megatown? So what you're looking at here is that you have Smallville and Megatown all the way over here. We don't know this distance, but I know that we want a distance answer. What we could do is solve for time because we want this distance to equal this distance. So I'm going to do 90t is equal to 50 times t plus 2.5. This information here tells you they were going the same distance. They didn't tell us how they were traveling, if they were traveling in opposite directions, if they were traveling in the same direction. But since they're going the same distance, that's all that matters. I have 90t is equal to 50t because 50 times t, and then 50 times 2.5 is 125 minus 50t to both sides. 40t is equal to 125. Divide by 40 to both sides. T is equal to, and I'm going to take my calculator. $125 divided by 40 is 3.125 hours. So that time is how long it takes the express train to get to the other town. So 90 times 3.125 is going to give me that distance. Which is 93, oh, sorry, I added them instead of multiplying them. Gives me 281.25 kilometers. Okay, so that means that the towns are 281.25 kilometers apart. A little side note, and this is for your homework. Side note is that if you are in opposite corners and you're trying to get to meet each other, it really doesn't matter who's going faster or who's going slower. What matters is when they meet. So what you want is to add them together. To get the total distance covered. And then the last one, it says, an airplane flies at 750 miles per hour west in 1.5 hours. So we need to find its rate of A. And I'm going to do 750 divided by 1.5 because that's 1.5. And then the other one is 7:15 in 2 hours, and that would be the rate of B. And that's 500 miles per hour. And then this one is 375 miles per hour. So it makes sense, right? The one that takes longer is going slower. What is the average speed of the airplanes? So how do you get speed? You add them together and divide by 2. But a weighted average would be that we add the times and divide by 2. Nope, let's just add them together and divide by 2. So 500 plus 375 divided by 2. The average speed is 437.5 miles per hour.